Start. Well, first of all, hello, everybody. Thanks so much for sharing some of your very valuable evening hours with us. I know that that's asking a lot of you, and we respect your time immensely, and really thank you for taking the time to get ready for this meeting by watching the video, sending us questions, and just mentally preparing for what we're really excited about. I think I can speak for all of us that have been part of this process, and it has been a process, to say that this is really, this has been a huge undertaking. This has not been a quick decision that we've made to take on this take this big step and take on a medical record system, but really something that we felt was essential and that we had to do. We don't want to change, and we're not going to change how we deliver and provide a customized approach to for these families, and we want to assure you of that. And I think by the end of hopefully this meeting tonight, you will feel confident that that is the case. We have spent about the past 12 months looking at different programs because we really realized that everything we've been trying to do, from creating a schedule for you all, to streamlining billing, to streamlining the ability for you all to access a file, and when you're involved with the child, being able to see what the other discipline is doing. There are and ensuring that we're HIPAA compliant. I mean, quite honestly, our system's been pretty clunky. It's worked for us up until this point, but there's been some holes in it that, has been taking a lot more of our time, everyone's time, quite honestly, than it needed to be done. And we really feel assured that once you all get used to this program, that you will find that it's actually a lot more efficient, and it's so much more manageable. This is not a program that has been developed for hospital use and adults only. We have interviewed practice after therapist after therapist that has used the system in the pediatric realm, in outpatient private therapy, and they're using this system, have been using this system for years. So this is a system that is built for exactly what we're doing. And we know it is, and we believe in it. Do we know that there's going to be a learning curve? You bet. There's going to be a huge learning curve, not only on our parts and your parts, but on the parents' parts. But I guarantee we are here to support you, and we've put a lot in place to make sure that there's always somebody there to support you when you have a question, so you don't have to wait for an answer, and so it doesn't hold you up. But please just take a really deep breath for us and just give us time to present and get used to this, because it's going to work. I promise you it's going to work, or we promise you. We purposely did not send on the step-by-step directions that you will be given today, because we really want to make sure that you all are engaged and involved and just following what is on the screen so you don't miss anything. We know you've watched the video, but we want to present tonight how we've customized this program so it is perfect for McKibben and Monty, or close to perfect. It'll be perfect in about 6 months, but it'll be close to perfect now. And we're going to also ask, we know that you've done a great job of sending us questions. Hopefully we're going to address all those tonight. If we haven't, we'll answer those at the end. So let's get rolling if you're good with that. So let's just talk about a couple of things. I breezed over just giving you a big broad brush overview. But again, I think what we want you all to know is that this program, we really want to emphasize that this is going to be customized for the client's experience. We're going to still provide the same personal touch. There is going to be a parent portal where we can see all of the documents, from the IEPs to the developmental histories that you've all wanted so desperately to have, and we haven't been consistent in giving that to you. So you're going to be a much better therapist because you're going to be able to access that. You're going to be able to access the occupational therapy notes. When you decide to cover for a therapist, or we ask you to, or or you take on a new client, you're going to be able to go to Practice Perfect and pull up all those notes so you can see what's been worked on, all the goals, all the past therapy notes. You'll be able to access that. Everyone can access those notes. All of our therapists will be using a web-based version, which is really the most popular in the clinics and in all the professionals and all the speech therapists that we have talked to. And it can be accessible on iPads and laptops. It will, in all of our centers where we are, you do need to have Wi-Fi. And so we will tell you a little bit about how we want you just to save along the way, because we realize that sometimes that Wi-Fi can be spotty. So, but as long as you have Wi-Fi, we can access the system. As I said, a lot of our therapists have used this program in the past. And so some of you are more familiar with it than others with Practice Perfect. But feel assured that all of you will get comfortable with it in, we'll get you there as quickly as we can. I don't think it will take long. I think I've covered those in a nutshell. Okay, so Practice Perfect is going to go live on February 6th, which is next Monday. During the month of February, therapists are going to be using Practice Perfect, we'll refer to it as PP to make it short, for progress notes, for screenings, and for charging. Even though we will not be sending the bills through Practice Perfect next month, we still are going to have you use it as if we are. Hopefully it'll help us work through any glitches that we have before we send that out. Jenny will continue to send bills for the month of February, the same way that she's been doing it all along. So all February will be billed at the beginning of March with Intuit. During the month of February, you're going to continue to be using the current system with the cover sheet and the billing system that we've been using all along. So that does not need to change during the month of February. We simply want you to become accustomed to using the Practice Perfect for progress notes, screenings, discharge summaries, if appropriate. We will, okay. I'm going to skip over that right now. During the week of February 6th, we are going to be holding 2 support Zoom calls to problem solve any issues that you are having from the very get-go with Practice Perfect. We have been so lucky, and I cannot not thank Teal, Leah, and Karen, who have been instrumental in helping us get to where we are today. They have been our guinea pigs, and they have been practicing this system, and they are going to continue to be our go-tos and our experts in practice, in Practice Perfect for the first couple of months. They will be the ones that will be available for 2 Zoom support calls this upcoming week, and then by text, by email for the next couple of months as issues come up. Sarah will send on to you in our information that'll go out either tonight or tomorrow morning what those 2 times are. And we've made it convenient. So one is over lunch and one is in the evening. So you can keep track of all your questions and shoot those over to and jump on and get those questions answered right away. Okay. So let's talk about just in general. I want to provide just a broad overview of this new process, again, as it relates to McKibben and Monty. In general, Jenny and I will be putting all new intakes into the schedule. You will no longer have the intake forms that we have sent over in the past. Rather, you will go to Practice Perfect and you will be able to pull up the information on those clients that is relevant for that initial screening. We will communicate to you about new screenings and clients as we have in the past. If you've been comfortable with an email, we'll send you an email. If you've been comfortable with a text to say that John Smith is going to be starting with you, here's your new screening, we will send you that text or email. That will still continue. But what will happen then is that you will go to your schedule and you will see in that schedule, Johnny Smith is on your schedule. He will be on that schedule in green. That will suggest to you that he is a new screening. We are just going to pop it on that schedule. The time we pop on your schedule is not necessarily the time you're going to screen that child. So you can go in and drag that kiddo over to your schedule at the time in the day that you plan on screening that kid. And we're going to ask you to do that. Upon completion of that screening, you're going to complete the screening write-up that is on PP. And you're going to download a copy of that evaluation, that screening assessment write-up, and you're going to send a copy of that, which Teal will show us here in just a minute, to Joy, to the case manager, and to the parent. The reason for that is if these parents are not familiar with the portal yet, they will get an email copy of that as well. But that screening assessment will also be in their portal. So we're going to train these parents along with us, okay? So we're going to give them plenty of support so that they've got it in an email and they've also got it in the portal. That also, the reason we're asking you to send that to us is that will actually tell Jenny and I to go ahead and send out a contract and communicate to those parents about finances, which we've always done. That will not change. Upon receipt of that contract, okay, same thing that's always happened. Once we get that contract over to those parents, we get that contract back. The case manager, Jenny, myself, will notify you in a text or an email that that client's contract is back. And we again are going to put that kiddo now on your schedule as soon as we get that contract. But now that child will be in yellow. That yellow will designate that it is an initial therapy session. Okay, you again at this point can drag and drop that kiddo onto your schedule at the appropriate time when you're going to start. When you've communicated with that parent, those parents, and that director, you're going to take that child and put them on the schedule for when you're going to have your first initial therapy session. Know that we've got in all of our instructions, we've got a color code. So you know there are going to be essentially 3 colors on your schedule. It's going to be green if it's a new screening. It's going to be yellow if it's an initial therapy session. And it is going to be blue for ongoing therapy sessions. It will default as you see that client on that initial therapy session and you go to schedule your child, that child for subsequent therapy sessions, it will automatically go to blue. And that will indicate that it is an ongoing therapy session then. We simply have color coded it so you know what that means on your schedule. And when you look at your visual schedule, you'll be able to see what you've got coming up, whether you've got screenings, initial therapy sessions, or whether you've got ongoing therapy clients. Any changes to the appointment or to your child's therapy time, your client's therapy time needs to be reflected in your schedule. So at the end of a day of treatment, that schedule needs to look like exactly what your day did. So that's just really easy. It's by dragging those children around to when you saw them. And that's going to be essential, not only because it shows you your schedule for the day and we know what you've seen, but all SOAP notes and charging are going to correlate with that schedule for the day. Again, broad overview. Seen the client, you've started seeing the child, you're scheduling your ongoing therapy sessions. Now it is time for discharging a client. Not only the discharge summary, but the screening assessment write-ups, all are going to look like exactly what you're used to. Practice Perfect has customized all of our reports so that they look the same way, and they are you will be able to access those. So you won't have to get used to any new assessment. It's just going to be done online. When you discharge a client, there's a discharge summary, same discharge summary you're always used to, again, just online. And on the last day that you see a child, you're going to go ahead and write your last therapy session. And then, as we've done all along, we're going to write a discharge summary. That's using that summary that is already in Practice Perfect. All reports, whether it's that initial screening or it's that final discharge summary, are going to be downloaded and sent to Joy, case manager, and parent. Okay. Reason is we're starting it off that way. We're ending it that way. Those are two really important documents. We're going to do it the same way. So it will, again, we're going to have a double check. It's going to have that reports can be sent to the parents, and it's also going to be in the portal. So we've got it all in the same place. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Important points, lots of important points. And then I'm going to turn it over to Teal, who's going to really walk us through this. All visits, I'm going to say it again, will have a progress note or a note attached to it, including the initial session and a discharge and a note of some kind along with that discharge summary. Again, it's all spelled out what it's going to look like. It can be short and sweet. That initial assessment, I assume your note's going to say initial screening report was completed, an assessment was completed. Please see portal for evaluation. But there's going to be some sort of note in there. No call, no shows, again, are defined as those appointments where a family has not let you know by 8 o'clock that morning that their child will not be there. Those are the ones that we charge for. It is not going to be a no-show, no-call is not if they call you or they email you ahead of time or up until 8 o'clock and let you know that their child's not going to be there. Those are cancellations. The reason I want to make that clear is that no-show, no-calls also need to have a brief note written in the progress note that says that, and then that allows us to go ahead and bill. We cannot bill unless we have some sort of a note in that progress note section. Okay, so it's going to say received a call, child sick. Then we will, or I'm sorry, excuse me, it will not say that. Will not say that. It instead will say did not receive a call, child was not at school. No show, no call. And then we will bill, and it'll become very easy to you how we do it, but then we'll bill that no show, no call. If a child is canceled appropriately, you will know, but you're going to put an X in it, and that means it's canceled, and we will not be billing for that. All documents that are relevant to a client can be found in the portal. And I think I've gone over what those might look like. IEP, developmental history, reports, pictures, anything that's come, particularly for those kiddos that have come on for us that have had an assessment at a hospital or an outpatient clinic. All of those reports we're going to download and you can access those. Parents are going to be receiving messages. Rest assured, I promise we're going to keep them on. We're going to make sure that they're following along and they're getting used to the system. We are going to be sending them messages explaining the new system and that we've also provided you all with a short footer that we're going to ask for you to put on the bottom of your emails. And again, that's in the document Sarah's going to send you. I'm going to ask you to cut and paste and put that on your emails right now. And email that to the parents so that they start getting used to looking at the portal. We also will be sending them out for this first month a reminder every week to let them know, remember, this is how you access your portal. Here's where your information will be. We're going to over communicate. We understand, we really get that parents, this is going to be a learning curve for them. And we're taking that really seriously. So as administration, we're going to make sure that that is all communicated a lot this first month. We want you to know that, or Teal is going to show you, but we want you to continue to personalize this approach. Everything you've written in your SOAP notes in the past can be put into the system and written in the SOAP notes. You can write whatever, honestly, you can have everything you want and you've always had right there. It's just going to be written on Practice Perfect instead of an email. If you want to, though, let me add, if you want to continue to send in emails and just check in with those parents, you can. There's nothing saying you can't do that. You all have done such a great job of, and parents so appreciate this personal touch. We're going to keep it up. When we are sending, we want to continue to send pictures. We want to continue to send hyperlinks. We want to continue to send worksheets and parent education. We really feel that the best way of honestly doing that and the easiest way of doing that at this very point and for this first couple of months is to continue to do that via email. It just will make it easier. We're going to get used to the documentation, but we can send over those emails, just checking in. Here's pictures from today's session that I've referenced in my notes in the portal. Everyone is going to be set up with an audit. Your system will be set up with an automatic log off. So if you are not on that program for 5 minutes, it's going to log you off of Practice Perfect for very intentional reasons. The reason is we have plenty of licenses because we have so many people that work very part-time for us, we don't have a license for everyone. And so we want to make sure that when you're not actively on that system, that it logs you off so there's plenty of room for everybody else. We don't anticipate that's going to be a problem whatsoever. I mean, we have about 3/4 of many licenses as we do therapists, so we feel like we're going to be just really great. But that automatic log off, just so you know, is already built into your system. Okay, and then in addition to that, I talked about that spotty Wi-Fi. You will not have trouble accessing Practice Perfect. We know that, even with spotty Wi-Fi, but we want to make sure that you are saving throughout. The system itself automatically saves when you've got a really strong Wi-Fi signal. So if you're working on it at home, there will not be a problem. We all know there's some schools that have better Wi-Fi than others. So we're going to just ask that you guys build that in just as a safety net, that you've got that kind of, you're saving it more frequently than you really need to, just so that if there is a glitch in that Wi-Fi, you've not lost what's already there. Okay. Again, you are going to get very detailed instructions, step by step by step. It'll walk you through everything. Teal, Karen, Leah, Sarah, Jenny, and I have gone through every step multiple times. I'm sure we've left something out, but I think you will find it's really easy when you follow the step by step. We're going to have Teal walk through now what it really looks like with some clients. As you guys have questions, please send them in. We can all learn from one another. We know it's not going to be perfect right from the very get-go, but we know that you're also going to really like this. I think you will find that the time that you put into this, it's going to, not only is it going to get much more, it's going to get quicker, you're just going to find in general some little tricks of the trade that we all can benefit from. There's a lot of opportunities to cut and paste and have some key phrases that you can pick from. The other beautiful things about it is that the goals are right there and we can carry those forward on every, from one note to another, so that you can just comment on how that child is doing on those goals. There are drop downs, so all the goals are built in. You get to pick from a bank of goals that we have customized. So there'll be, in a sense, maybe a little bit less thinking that you need to do, or time that you need to put into establishing that initial treatment plan and those goals. All right, Teal, that is mine. I'm going to turn it over to Teal now, and she's going to walk you through, share her screen, and really walk you through this. Anything?
Great, hello.
It's all good? Okay.
Yep. All right. Are you all able to see my screen? All right. So I'm just going to go to that first week of February, and I'm going to So this is what your week will look like when there's nobody on it yet. Um, when you add a new client, you're going to select the time. So I'm just gonna pick 8 o'clock on Wednesday, February 8th. You'll right click, and then there's a bunch of options here. So I'm gonna select new appointment, and Sarah, I'm just gonna do a test client that Sarah and I tried earlier. So you'll just select the patient. You're gonna just make sure the incident looks correct. So it should fall under speech or OT. You're not gonna change the status, the fee code, the provider. These will all stay the same. And a special note on this one, I'm gonna talk a lot about adding a fee code because that is a hugely important part, so that it just doesn't disrupt billing process. But here is not where you do that. So when you're adding a scheduled appointment, don't touch the fee code yet. Make sure your start time's right where you want it, 8 a.m. down here. And then you can select a duration. So I know some of us see clients typically for 30 minutes, some 45, some 60. You can change that. And then there's going to be a drop down to select the color. So green for screening, yellow for initial, which those two you won't be touching typically because Cindy and Jenny are going to be putting those clients on your schedule for you. So you're just going to want to look for the turquoise, the therapy. Then you're going to select a treatment location. So we'll just say that I see Sarah at All About Kids, but you have the option to search. So whatever you're looking for should be pop up right there. So I'll just choose that one for now. If you see a child at home, you can select the home. You do not need to select the confirm box here. Then if you scroll back up, there's a tab with recurrence on it. When you're going to schedule multiple appointments, which usually you'll be doing that, select this appointment occurs, and I did a Wednesday, so I'll just select that Wednesday. And then you can change this appointment occurs for until, and I'm going to say till the end of February. So that last week. And that's really all you need to do there. For the recurring appointment, you can go click between these two if you need to, check and make sure you have all the information, and then you'll save. Then you're going to have a box pop up for your appointment time. And all of your appointments will have this little timer on it when you haven't done anything to it yet. When you go, say, I've seen this client, I want to go in, I want to make a note and add a fee code. I can click this little timer. I can select that they've arrived. And then when I'm ready to do that, that way I know, okay, I saw them, I need to make a note for them. Now I'm going to right click this session and I'm going to scroll down, and then I'm going to select new client progress notes. So this is where I'm going in. This is where we're adding exactly what we would in an email. There, we set it up so that it's in SOAP form. You do not have to use all of those boxes. If you leave a box blank and you sign off on the note, that section just won't show up in the note that the parents get in the portal. You will have to have, and I apologize, I'm starting to lose my voice, but you will have to add goals into your objective section. So I'll just add something. And then the plan, in the plan section, that is where I would recommend if you wanted to, you know, all of the things that you shared with them, the activities that you used. If like sometimes I'll send home like, and I know a couple other people that do this too, like a word of the week. That's where I would maybe make that suggestion. The other thing to note here in this SOAP section, you can click between the tabs to just be looking at what you're working on. There's also this blue little, it looks kind of like a web page drop-down box. You can select that and it will bring up previous notes that you've written for the same client and insert them in whatever section you're working on. So that was, I was on the plan section, so that's where it popped up. So just to give you another idea, I'll go just to objective and pull down that drop down box. And that's what I had from a previous note. I just pulled it forward. You don't have to do that. It's just there if you would like to have that option. So I've got my very thorough note written. I need to add goals. And this is where, just when you see it, there won't be any listed. We've just practiced with this one before. So you'll go to add your goals with this little plus button, the top left. There are codes, and this is what Cindy was talking about. There are options for goals to enter. You do not have to use one of the goals from the drop-down box. You can write your own goals. If you want to use one of these, you're more than welcome. There were a lot we went through and deleted so many. We try to keep the ones that pertain to our age level and things that we thought made the most sense. If you want to write your own, you can write the description here. We'll produce R in isolation is maybe my goal. I want him to produce this at 80% accuracy. I'm going to say it's a short-term goal. I can select when the goal began. And this last percentage column, every time you go in here, this is where you're going to be entering like your percentages. It will pull the percentage from your previous session. So you can kind of see where it was prior without having to go back and look at the note. So today he was at 70% accuracy. Really good to start. And then you might type little notes about the therapeutic intervention. And then you're going to check that today box. There's also the option, hang on, I got to move my box of people faces to see it, for goal met and goal end date. So when you're thinking about if you're discharging a client or if you're going to change the goal soon, did they meet the goal? Did you need to end the goal to change it? Just so it kind of gets it out of there for you. And you'll check that box and you will click save, but you can add multiple goals. And these goals will show up every time you go to write a new note for this client. And you can add and delete them at any time. So I'll hit save for this note today. So my goals have been entered. The other thing, when you're doing your note, so you want to make sure you're on the right service date. I'm on 2/8. Appointment length is 30 minutes. You can do time in and time out. 8, 30, and then 30 minutes. And then I'm just gonna save. This is up at the top left. That little save button. I do that a lot. If you don't have great Wi-Fi service. Then when you go to if you want to see what it will look like in the parent portal, hit this print. And then you're going to select print goals on the daily notes and show goals in the objective section. So that way, when the parent sees that SOAP note in the objective section, those goals and percentages should be in that SOAP note that they're receiving. And then you can
you don't have to click anything else. The other things are all going to be in there.
Yep.
So those are the only two things you have to remember.
So then you can download it to preview that note, and it will show up with every section that I wrote something in. And this is, and I didn't put a lot in the actual goal this time, but it will bring up the percentages that you save. Okay.
So in reality, that objective section, there just is not much that you have to write except to report on those goals.
When you add the goals with your target for each day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've written my note and I've saved it, but I don't want to sign off on it yet. It's still incomplete right now, this little status bar under my name, because before you sign any note, you want to make sure you put a fee code in, or it can disrupt the billing process. So before I go out of here, I'm going to select the hand on that top bar. Your name's gonna pop up as the treating provider. The billing provider should be set to nothing. Then you will have this button at the top left, the plus button for add, and it will bring up a fee code dropdown. We have starred the most frequent billing codes that you'll be expected to use. So for this one, it's a speech therapy 30-minute session. So that's that one. We have occupational 30 minutes. So they're going to have there's 30 minutes options, 45 minutes, 60-minute options. So if you, like, I see one of my clients for 45 minutes, so I'm going to have to scroll down, and that is there. It's just down lower because it's not a commonly used one.
Can I add right now quickly, Teal, that as you see up here at the top, the starred ones are the ones you're going to use most often. There are plenty of other ones. You will know if you need to use the credit card one, the credit card speech therapy screen, for instance, versus the regular speech therapy screen, which you see 2 down. By looking, Teal, can you show them at the top the notes section on the therapist, or on each of the patients? So if you go to the client, okay. If you go to the
where am I going? I'm sorry.
The client up at the top, where it's going to show if it's a credit card client.
I don't think Sarah has the contact notes in there.
Yeah, we don't have it, but up here at the top where it says contact notes are not available.
Yep.
Right there, it's going to say CC if it is a credit card client. And that simply means that there's a credit card there's with all credit cards, as you know, there's a fee that goes along with it. So it's charging them that credit card fee as well. So it'll say CC if it's a credit card. If not, you're going to use the regular one. So any notes that are pertinent that you need to be aware of, and you'll always be able to see that section at the top. No matter what screen you're on, you can just reference that so you know which fee code, if it's regular screening assessment or if it's a credit card screening assessment.
And that was actually good that I got out of there, because you can leave that note without signing it and go back in and still add a fee code. So I'm gonna right click the session that I'm working on. And then I would just click client progress notes because I already started one for this day. And then I will go to 2.8, which is the one I was working on, and I'll click edit. And it will have everything that I had already entered, still incomplete. And then I can add that new treatment code. So if you like start writing a note, you have to exit out, you can go back to that note and still add the fee code. So don't worry about that if you haven't signed it. So again, going to add billing providers, nobody. Add a billing fee code. I said this one's speech therapy. And then you are going to go to location code is going to be in office. And then the only modifier that you're going to worry about here, if you're a speech therapist, it's going to be GN. If you're an occupational therapist, it's going to be GO. Then you will select the diagnosis code that goes with the therapy code. Or if there's multiple, you can use the select all if all of them apply. And then you select save. All right. So now I have added the fee code. So I'm going to change the status now. My note's done. The goals are added. My fee code is done. So I'm going to sign it. And that would be complete signed. And then you confirm. And then when I go back to my scheduler for that date, I have the hand and the blue box of notes that pop up. So then I can click my little walking man and check complete because everything that I needed to do for that note is done.
So your note should have a hand, the paper that shows that you've completed a progress note, and the check, which means it's complete. That money bag simply means we have to bill them, but you need to just be concerned about 3 icons on there, that those are all there. And we've got a double check system that we'll put in place that we'll share that will help us if there's one of those steps missing. We know that we're going to be missing some things, and we've got a system in place for double checking that.
The other thing that I wanted to show you was for the initial assessment, that SOAP note that we just did, that's where you would say, see assessment document or assessment completed. But then you need to add the actual document. So I am going to, click the session and then go to, there it go. Sorry. I'm going to go to client progress notes. And then I'm going to click the documents, the 2 pages, and then do add new document with the green plus sign. This is where the screening form for occupational therapy and speech therapy, as well as the discharge summary form will be. And like Cindy was telling you, it's a template, just like the paper one, the fill-in version that we've filled out in the past. So then you'll select the provider. And then it's going to look like this. So the date that it's a speech and hearing screening. The status section is what you'll use to sign it so that it becomes available that it can become available on the portal.
Teal, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
So I don't want anyone to be scared when they look at this. It does look a little messy. This is just kind of the template we're entering information in. When it's completed, it's going to be beautiful and you can see what it looks like. There are some things that autofill into here. So Teal can point those out, like the parent name, dear parent name, the child's birthday, etc. There's some things that you'll fill in. And then at the end, you can kind of preview it and you'll see what it looks like. So ignore all that stuff on the left. It's kind of their coding system. So don't panic when you see this and think, oh, this doesn't look very good.
So this is where you would check off the boxes and the recommendations, just like on our form, and then where you would put your screening summary. And once you finish that, you would do complete and signed. And then you can go, and then you can do a print preview. And it will show up with the information that you filled in and look pretty close to our original.
Teal, is this the time? I was just going to say, it was that last screen. I think I just saw it. Would you show them now? So they've completed once they've complete this, can you just walk them through how they download it and email that on to us?
Yes. So I'm going to go back to my scheduler. And then, so we'll go to documents. So click on the client that you want to get the documents for. Select. And then, why is this looking different? Oh, okay. Yeah, so you have to, so when you do the print preview and do the download for it, that is where you can move or do the print. And then instead of printing, you save as PDF. So when you save that PDF to your computer, then you can attach it to your email.
Let me just back up 1 second. What Teal's saying is, and you'll see it in the step-by-step, I promise. It's all written out. In order to see what that evaluation write-up is going to look like, you actually go to this printer icon up in the corner and put print preview. That allows you to look and see what it is. So once you're at that print preview, that's when you can go into and download this document. So anytime you want to see what you have created, what you've typed in, you just go to that little printer icon and then preview, and it allows you to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, so when I click on that, it'll be the print, and then the download will show you what it looks like. And when you open the download, that's where you can select the printer to change it to a PDF to save, to be able to send it along. Cindy, am I missing anything?
No, I was just going to say, I think my list is that we have gone down through everything. I think what is important for you all to know, again, there are going to be questions. We realize that. I think the most important pertinent things we wanted to highlight, because they do differ a little bit from what you saw in that video. There are going to be a lot of questions. As you were just, we can answer any general broad questions you have that maybe we haven't touched on. I think this is a great time for that. But do us a favor of going through that list that we've really spent a lot of time making sure you got step by step directions. And if you follow that, you won't get misled and you won't get frustrated. So take the time, please, to go through that and bring up any questions as you're working through that. We realize the first week, it's going to take a little bit more time. Second week, less time. We've all been through this. We've all tried new. This is not anybody's first rodeo. We realize we've all worked in different places and have all had to use these electronic medical records. And we know that this is going to work and it's going to take a little bit of time, but there will be questions. So you need to shoot those our way. The other important thing to know is that once you get in there and you start practicing tomorrow, we are really close to having all the information in there. Our current clients, keep in mind, our current clients that you are currently seeing, we are not going to go and download all of the documents because the hours that it takes to do that, we already have that in a system. Joy's got that in a system. All new clients that have started January moving forward, their files will be complete. You will be able to go to their portal and find all those documents we talked about, as well as all new clients that now from this point forward we take on. But know when you go in there tomorrow, you're going to see your clients, but you'll find that there are some gaps. So we still are filling in some of those gaps. We don't have those files with as much information as we want to have in there yet, but they will be complete to the point that you can access everything that you need to as of Monday. Honestly, as of this weekend. Okay, questions?
I have a question. You said the parents are going to start getting information like every week. Are they starting to access the portals as of February, or are they going to access them starting in March?
They're going to access them right away.
They are.
They're already getting information. Sarah's been already sending that out. It's going to continue to come into them with a link for how they access their portal and how they set up their username and access that.
Okay.
Yep.
If the parents have questions and we can't answer them, who do we direct them to?
And that is all in this, great questions, Debbie. That is all in all this information you'll get from Sarah with a step-by-step. There's all kinds of links, help links, all of everyone's emails, Teal's, Leah's and Karen's, as well as where you direct those questions, which is info@mckibbenandmonty.com.
Because really, until we learn, I don't think, at least I won't be able to explain it very well to the parents.
Please don't send them on our way. We're ready. Yep.
And Debbie, their portal is very simple. They have a financial section, a document section, and then I can't remember what the other section is, but it's very easy for them to navigate, and they will be able to find things easily there. And eventually they will be doing their billing through there. It will be simple for them to do that as well. So we sent out a very comprehensive letter to them. They're already working on getting their logins, and kind of poking around in there. We'll have something that you can put at the bottom of your email, very simple. Here's the link. Here's where you go to for questions. The one other thing I want to point out that will be also in that email to all of you is a template for your signatures. We need to add your signatures into the system. And that way your signature will go automatically at the bottom of your progress notes when you sign them in your documents. So this template is a blank page with a business card size square in the middle of it. I need you to print it out, sign your name, in kind of something dark blue or black, and I will load it up into your file. So that will be coming with the email with all the other information for all of you. So if you can make sure you attend to that quickly, I can get it into your file right away.
The other thing I want to mention, and I alluded to earlier, is that we are going to be sending you, we do have a double check system. We know that there's things we're going to all miss. And that's why we've really broken it up to, let's get used to the progress notes and the documentation first. And then, the billing part for Jenny and I will jump into second. And parents can as well. We can ease them into this process. New clients, we really don't think it's going to be an issue. This is all they're going to know. Again, so we don't think that there'll be as much of a learning curve. The one thing I will mention is that there is a report. It's called the revenue report. Name of it's not important, but we will be Jenny and I will be sending that on to you on Friday. It will allow you to check that the client you saw, you saw them for 30 minutes and you billed for 30 minutes. So it will allow you to go through and check to make sure that all those steps are complete. We don't know how long we'll need to do this. It's a great double check system that is built into this program. And so we will be sending that on to you on Fridays for you to check for us and just send back. Again, hoping to work out any of the bugs we can in the month of February, so that we're ready to go forward and don't have as many billing issues for next month. I also want to mention that I think that this process you'll find will make it easier. We know right now what we're expecting of you all at the end of the month to bill. And this, we're just doing a little bit of a reverse order. We're having you, in a sense, do that as you go along so that you don't have to do that all at the end of the month. While I'm thinking about it, the one other thing I do want to mention, today we realize is the 31st. So on your timesheets, if you've not already turned those in, if you can go ahead and put on there practice perfect training, we will go ahead and pay you for that in this billing period too.
If you have already sent me your timesheet and have not put practice perfect training, just shoot me an email and I print your timesheets as they come in and I will mark that for you.
You all are very quiet. Either you're overwhelmed, you're trying to digest this, or you're really ready to be done with work. And all of those are really good answers.
Okay, I talk too much.
Mackenzie, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So,
go ahead.
and I don't know how many other people do this, but like if I have a cancellation, I always offer to do a makeup session, but what has worked for me and for the families is to do a double session, just like an hour long. Is the billing, like, would the parents be billed differently if you bill it as like a 30-minute versus a 60-minute session? Like, should they be billed as 2 30 minutes?
No, Mackenzie, I love how you always offer a makeup session and are very cognizant to do that. I think going forward with Practice Perfect, I think as long as you communicate to your family that, it will appear that it's a longer session, but it's really making up the minutes that they missed. And let's just count it as, instead of how you have been doing it with 2 sessions on one day, let's just do 1 session that's longer on one day.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make
Okay.
sense.
And again, and you do a great job communicating with your families. Let's just let them know that it will be a longer duration, but
Okay.
it's essentially the same price.
Okay.
It is the same price. Okay, Debbie?
So if we have our goals, right now I have my goals in Word. And if we have our own goals written and we're not using the drop down box, we can probably cut and paste from Word into the description box our goals. Does that make sense?
Teal, can you answer that?
Yeah, so because I actually played around with that because I keep my info in Word documents too to save it. But yeah, you just like copy and paste like you would, and it should go as long as it doesn't go over the allotted space, which it shouldn't if it's a goal. So you should be able to paste it right in there.
Okay, that's great. And along with what I think Mackenzie was asking, if we do a makeup session, okay, so we do a makeup session because I'm going to be out next week for family reasons. So I was going to offer a makeup the following week. Do I do in the schedule? Do I put the makeup session date, or do I just go ahead and bill for 60 minutes?
However long you're going to see is how long you're going to bill for. So if you're going to see them for 60 minutes, just go ahead and bill for 60 minutes.
But
So
Are you talking about if you see them on a different day?
yes, if I, okay,
Alright.
Oh, then you do not need to mark it as a makeup session. Just put the days that you are planning to see the child and saw the child.
okay.
drag and drop the kiddo just to that next time, just to, skip that week and move them on and to the date that you're going to see them and the length of time you're going to see them. Would we bill for a consult was a quick question. You'd bill the
Yes.
same for a consultative session. So just the same way we've been doing it. A consultative session is, right, if you're doing a 30-minute consult, we bill the same as we do a 30-minute therapy session. You bill the same way. 30-minute therapy session is what it's going to say.
And
under that.
remember, when you bill, you have to document in a progress note. So basically, you can put in the objective consultation with mom and dad, the following areas were discussed, and then that will coincide with your billing.
What about attaching handouts to our notes? I send a lot of handouts home or homework home or things like that, or with initial screenings, developmental milestones I send home sometimes. Is there a way to upload stuff and attach it with that?
So the answer to that is yes, there is. We can do cut and paste. However, Cara, I will tell you, we did not want to go into that right now because some people are more IT savvy than other. I would suggest that you play with it. It is actually really easy, and that can
Okay.
be, Teal can help you through how she's doing it, and she's been able to do that and upload it in the portal without any problem. I do think though, you might find right now as you're getting used to the documentation process that it's easier just to shoot those over via an email. or text.
And my suggestion too with that is when you write your SOAP note in the summary, just for now, and like Cindy said, I'm happy to help you, any of you, figure out how to actually upload a document or a picture to the portal. But if you're sending things via email like we usually do, in that SOAP note for that day, in the summary form or wherever you see fit to put it, just say, see my email for home activities and photos from session.
And again, I think Amy, you're asking the same question. Can you upload photos and videos to Practice Perfect? So yes, we can. Teal can show you how to do that, or Karen can show you how to do that because they figured that out. And you're savvy with IT, so it should be very easy for you. But feel free for those of us that don't want to figure that out right now to send those over via email and just reference that in that SOAP note. They're going to read that and you can reference both, look at the rest of the information in the portal, but here's some pictures from today, or here's, a video that I'd like you to see, just the same way you're already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Can parents see only the completed signed documents? Yes. And that's why we're doing that double check system with running reports and making sure you've got those 3 icons next to each of those kids on your schedule. It has to say complete in order for it to go into the portal and for parents to see it.
I have a question.
Yep.
If our schedule, like I see that we're kind of making like a not a permanent schedule, but a schedule for you to see what we're seeing kids. What if we have a schedule that kind of changes? Like sometimes my schedule changes weekly based on obviously kids' illness, the weather. So like today, in school, I had a 2-hour delay, and I thought about I dropped my kids off, and I was like, oh, I could snag a couple private practice clients right now instead of rushing after school. Like, is that still okay to kind of like do on the fly kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Or, hey, my kids got picked up by my husband today, and I can stay for an extra half hour and do, like you said, an extra session, a makeup session, or a 45-minute session. So sometimes my schedule just kind of like lately, it just seems to be changing.
That's okay.
And
Yeah,
I've
can this still be done?
I've thought about it too, because I work at a school all day and I have
Yes.
kids that their teacher will email me at 9 in the morning and be like, we have an assembly at their scheduled speech time. Can you
Right.
squeeze them in before lunch? Yes. I would say like, and that's something that you don't have to change on the schedule weekly, as
Okay.
long as you see them for that day in that
Right.
place.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, oh my, I was really quiet when you said that, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, today I single parenting this week. And so I was like, just had to change things up with like my own schedule. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to have to change the schedule on there every single week? That's going to take extra time each week too. And I was just worried about if this is still feasible to do that. So
Cindy
most of
and
the
I
time my
went-
kids are the same, but like last week, all the schools were closed last Wednesday for, rain. And some of the preschoolers stayed home with their older siblings, so they unexpectedly didn't end up being there, so I saw them on a different day. Parents let me know, but I was like, oh, so that was just like these winter things or illnesses kind of come up, and I just wanted to make sure that this was still feasible to like
Absolutely.
change it up.
This
Okay.
we are not taking away the flexibility that you have as a therapist for this great work-life balance.
Mhm.
This, as you go through the learning curve, I do believe that you are going to see the benefit of doing your notes and your billing on the day that you do it. And it's going to really just streamline everything for you without taking away any of your flexibility to manipulate and change your schedule. And as always, communication is key. Make sure that if you are manipulating your schedule or changing it a bit, the people that need to know have received that message.
And I think just honestly, at the end of a day of treatment, any day you see kids, all we need to know is that at the end of that day, the kids you saw are on that schedule. If you usually see them on Monday and you're seeing them on Friday, great. Then you move them to Friday. And you see no kids on Monday, then you should have a clear schedule on Monday. You can shift them around. It doesn't change that.
Yeah,
So
for that is like you just do
afterwards.
the drag and drop.
Okay, so it's just, even if it happened afterwards, you saw it. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, or like being in the schools, if you have an IEP meeting and can't see them that day, I'm like, I'll just see them tomorrow. They're there 5 days a week. It's not a big deal, So most of the parents, know that kind of thing with
Yep.
me. So, or I'll text, say, hey, can I snag them today instead? So
That works.
cool.
Debbie,
Okay.
one quick question you said is if you cancel, is there a certain note you need to use? Remember, a cancellation means they've let you know ahead of time that their child's not going to be there by 8 o'clock that morning. Anytime we are billing and you are out looking for money and we're paying you.
Does she mean if like we
I'm
have to
sorry,
cancel,
I
like
meant
if we're sick?
if we're sick.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
If you're sick, I would just shoot your parents an email, quite honestly, and say, I'm sick and I'm not gonna be able to see your child today. You don't need to document in the system. I mean, you just need to notify the parents, right? Don't worry about documenting something. The only time you need to always document when you're gonna bill. So there's always got to be something in there.
So for that session, if we weren't moving it to a different day, you would just click canceled and not have to worry about a bill or a note.
If you were scheduling, then you can just shift that kiddo to where you are going to reschedule them for that day that you're not sick. Does that make sense? Really good
Other questions?
if we're doing it wrong, will you guys tell us?
Oh,
You know, we will.
and we have every confidence in each one of you that you are going to be fine. And if you have a question, do not at all hesitate to reach out. We have ensured that we are here to help you. We know that there will be a learning curve, and we will try to make it as easy and efficient as possible for you out of respect for your time.
There isn't one person that has used the system that are speech pathologists or occupational therapists in our settings, very similar kids, preschoolers, outpatient, that use the system that don't love it. So again, just please give it time. None of us like change. We know nobody likes change. We
Can I
don't like,
comment?
gotta put a little more time into it. We get that, but just for a little bit so that we can get on board, and I think it'll all be good.
Can I make a quick comment? Can you guys hear me? Just so everybody knows, we used to use this at my full-time job, and we miss it so much because we switched to something that's entirely way too complicated, and everybody's like, oh my God, we miss Practice Perfect. It's really, really easy. It's going to streamline things a lot, and I think it'll be a lot cleaner than the email format what we are used to. So I think you'll like it.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you sharing that with the team. Again, back to Sarah, Joy, Cindy, and myself, we've really looked at which platform that we wanted to use that fits our practice the best. And we definitely feel that you will see the reason that we chose that as well. So thanks for sharing.
And Teal put a ton of work into the instruction sheet, and it really, I mean, I don't think you'll go wrong being able to read what she has put in there. I mean, it is step by step by step. And I think everything will be there. So.
And even after that, Cindy and Jenny and Sarah and Joy have all gone through and double and triple checked that too. And Karen was nice enough to let me read her through the steps just by looking at it. And she was able to complete, each piece. And when you do get the document with the instructions, it's going to look like a lot. However, we really tried to break it down so that there's nothing that gets missed. We have an index that's numbered. The first section being where you can find help. The second session, or the third section, just kind of like giving you a general idea of what we're looking for. And really the main things that you guys are going to be responsible for is the initial assessment, scheduling your clients, adding the fee codes, and with the discharge, and that's all laid out there, and it shows you exactly where to go in the notes to find specific instructions for that.
So yeah, take time to look through it. Any questions, let us know. This is going to be a process, and we're in it with you. Thanks for being in it with us.
Sarah and Joy, do you have anything to add before we conclude tonight?
I just wanted to encourage and remind everyone to be checking their email from us regularly, because we'll be communicating any updates or additional information. I'm going to be sending out emails that have a lot of information and resources for you, and you're going to want to probably save those or, flag them so you can go back to them regularly. We also are putting information into the Google Drive under a Practice Perfect folder, so you can access these instructions and additional information, links, everything will be there. And so just try to make sure, even if you aren't someone who loves to check their email all the time, just make sure you're doing that a lot in the next couple months, because you might miss something important, and we want to make sure that everyone's getting the same information. So
And I found it
Um,
helpful.
and
I
there's
made an
also-
actual. I was just gonna
No.
say, I made a folder in my email to keep all of those in too.
Yeah, and there will be some information we might need you to send back to us, like the signatures. And so just make sure you're, checking your email in a timely manner so that we're working together to get your account and anything you need taken care of right away.
All right, you all. We want to be respectful of your time. Go back to your families. Thanks a million for everything. And we'll be in touch.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.